everybody, I'm Audrey Moore with Audrey Helps Actors, and this is episode number 32. What you gonna do with this little bonus episode? This little bonus episode for you guys. I'm doing 2 episodes on Los Angeles v. New York City. I have so many of you guys who are thinking of moving to Los Angeles from New York, or New York from Los Angeles, or you're like in Atlanta, or you're just graduating college and you're not sure which one is better. There's so many questions about theater versus television and which place is better. So here you go. I have 2 guests for you over the next couple episodes. This episode was recorded in New York with Peter O'Connor, the wonderful, the magical. And he lived in New York, and then he lived in Los Angeles, and then he got a bunch of regional theater, and for the time being has landed himself back in New York. So he's got a really great perspective on which side is advantageous for what reasons. And he really loves Los Angeles, and he really loves New York. So that's what I'm trying to find, is people for you that really know both sides. This is one of the episodes I recorded in New York City, so the sound a little special, just like New York. So enjoy. I'm going to have another episode coming for you about this subject. It's just going to be a couple days late, you guys, so no Monday episode. We're going to do an episode that'll be out like Tuesday, Wednesday. Don't kill me. I love ya. Audrey helps actors because they don't know anything. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Audrey Helps Actors, New York edition. What? Okay, just so you guys know, we're like sitting here with the great Peter. Tell him who you are.
Peter O'Connor.
Oh my God, I'm so happy to see you, honey.
Me too. So happy to see you. Why I'm seeing you.
Oh, me too. Thank you, honey. So we are here recording. We have made the most janky makeshift like recording thing. There's like a plastic Tupperware and a little janky mic.
I was going to call it a cool Ed Sullivan mic, but
it is a cool Ed Sullivan mic. But you know they've gotten better since the Ed Sullivan time. So now we call it the janky mic.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, good. Everybody, I wanted to do an episode about New York perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
There's a lot of perspective to have and gain.
That's both are true.
Yeah, both are true.
So you, in particular, have perspective because you've lived both in New York and Los Angeles.
It's true.
And how long were you in Los Angeles when you were there?
A little shy of 18 months.
Yeah.
And then I got a show and then I got a play.
Yeah.
I got a very exciting play. It kind of changed my theater career at that time.
Cool.
Which was the West Coast premiere of an Annie Baker play, The Aliens.
Great.
And did it again with Annie involved. And
yeah.
Loyola Nagelbauer, and then we did it again in D.C. later that year. Same team. And then, so it only made sense after that to come back to New York.
Yeah. The theater had sort of...
were blowing, yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready. I was loving L.A.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wasn't ready to come back.
I remembered you really enjoying L.A.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. And do you have any feelings about going back there again, ever?
Every year when
at this time? It's now cold.
Comes out, that's right. Yeah, Audrey, frankly, you helped me a lot a year or two ago when I was having those kind of, living that ambivalence which would come from time to time. Mm-hmm. And you said to me, you know what, Peter, I think you just really love theater.
Yeah.
And I went, can I curse in this thing? He said,
yeah. We're explicit. I curse like all the time.
I was like, oh, shit. You're right. You're right.
Just love theater.
I spend time with that thought.
Yeah.
Since you said it every week.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keeping an eye on it.
Yeah.
But owning it. And being like, all right. And here's the thing. When I started this, which I kind of non-traditionally late, didn't go to the conservatory, didn't go to grad school. Yeah. I kind of always imagined a slow build out of theater. And
into film, television.
Correct.
Mostly film, because that was and then film died on us all.
Correct.
So now television.
Right. Which is, to me, artistically feels like a nice amalgam of the two.
That was
such quality, yeah.
Absolutely. And that was definitely my path also, that I always envisioned myself. Like I was going to do theater, and then like I would just be so amazing that then they'd be like, hey, you want to be in all these movies? And then I'd be Meryl Streep, and then that would be it.
That's
right?
Right.
That's the dream.
Right.
Pacino, Streep, like that's what we all think, right? But the environment in which those actors came up is very different from the environment in which we came up, right?
Yeah, different world.
So that's part of why I did this podcast, is because for those of you who are listening, those of you like just graduating from college now, I want you to have like real on the ground understanding of what things look like now versus what they looked like in 1995, because that's totally useless to you because the environment is completely different.
That's right.
Let's talk about how long you've been pursuing acting. How long have you pursued it?
I think I'm in my 16th year doing more than pursuing. 16th year since doing, things, plays and stuff.
Yeah.
I went to a regular college and I studied business and I was in advertising for a couple of years. Never thinking it was going to be a career. And quit on the day I was promoted and tried out for a play.
I love that you quit on the day you were promoted. Yeah. That's so like dramatic and like a movie of you. Yeah. They're like, and you're promoted, and you're like, I can't.
That's right.
And then you're gone.
Yeah.
I love it. I bet they were sad to lose you.
Yeah. Well, after I quit, they were.
Right,
the day before they did the show. I did that play months later, and at the
after you quit, months later after you quit.
I quit, and I didn't know what to do. I was making music. I kind of wanted to do that.
Had you done theater like in high school or?
Nope.
Oh fuck! You just decided to do a theater.
I had a little secret between my mom and I. I saw Pacino in The Godfather.
I see. Did I call Pacino or what?
Do you know I've worked for? Did you know I was Pacino's driver for 10 years?
Yeah.
I went into his life. So that's another podcast.
Yes, right.
Maybe a series.
Right.
I saw that and it had an effect on me. I saw Michael thinking and I thought, oh my God, that guy's making me think what he's thinking. I said, oh my God, that's a guy playing a guy thinking. And I was transported. And I told my mom, I want to be a Renaissance man. I want to be, if I could be an actor, be in a movie that good. And then I kept it a secret basically for 10 years. I took 2 electives when I was a senior at Notre Dame in acting and was like, oh my God, this feels good. But I didn't think I was, anything special. Yeah. And then at the end of that...
He is something special, guys.
At the end of that play, which was 6 Degrees of Separation, I saw these, I was young, mid-20s, and I saw these adult New York actors. It was in New Jersey. It was at the Nutley Little Theater. And they're drinking wine, and they're talking about their lives, and I'm going, those are actors. And I thought, okay. I thought it must have been 25 or 26, because I said, if I turn 35 and I didn't have the balls to try this, I'll never forgive myself. That's it.
And then you did it.
Got in the class and started
jumping
around. Yeah.
I just didn't realize that was the way that you got into it. And what I love so much about that and why it makes sense is because you bring something to the work, I can say personally, that is an understanding of what a normal guy is. And I think so many actors are all actors who've been only actors who just do acting. And that's a particular quality, which, many of them excellent actors who can sort of go in and out of that and be personal. But I do feel that it makes sense to me because you have a quality about you that it's grounded in a way that is not just like an actor who's been acting their whole life. So that makes a lot of sense to me. That's really great. So do you want to talk to them a little bit about your experience and why you went to LA in the first place? And then we've heard why you left and what you feel like are the advantages and disadvantages to both markets.
Yes. When I got to the point in 2009 or 10, before I went to LA, I pieced together something. I created something. I had like a rinky-dink agent where I was getting most of the, the casting. I some way made my way to them, whether it was, I had pieced something together. And in the course of a year, I booked 2 commercials. I booked, I shot an indie feature. And I was in 2 plays that were, technically off-Broadway plays.
Yeah, they were
real
good
spaces.
Plays. Right, yeah.
And then it was like 5 real things. I was like on a roll.
Yeah.
And I took a breath and I looked around and I said, nobody fucking cares. It didn't do shit. I don't feel like the ball has moved forward an inch. This is what got me to go to LA.
So you were here for a couple of years. You got some balls rolling right away.
Well, not right away. No. There were a couple of years of like rinky-dink plays downtown. But I kept looking around and saying, if I'm not one of the best in every one of these, I got to stop.
Yes.
And I would just feel little ascensions. And then I got into this theater company with all like NYU and Juilliard and, kid people. And then I would see how that pedigree was helping them with reps and stuff. And I knew so I had like an underdog, a little chip on my shoulder, but that's what I signed up for. It's fine.
Right.
So when that year happened, I was like, yes. And it was like, nothing's changed. And I had a breakup, a romantic breakup. And frankly, I acted in Pacino's car while he was doing Merchant in the park.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, on no sleep, the morning after the breakup, I felt like, for you spiritual folk out, I felt like down through the top of my head.
Yeah.
I felt like, wow, my life is my own again. I'm not in a partnership.
Yeah.
And it was just like LA, and I followed.
I moved to LA right after a breakup too, you guys.
You did?
Oh, it's very common. Yeah, people go through breakups and they're like, you know what? Fuck it. I think it's what you're saying,
though. It was as much a life change for me. And I didn't plan to move. It was like a 3-year... I have a dear friend who's like an older brother, Uncle Sam McMurray, a veteran, great actor who everyone knows his face. Sam McMurray. And he said, come out for a few weeks. I'll set you up with my agent. And so it wasn't a commitment to move. Things just like...
popped, huh?
Yeah, I signed with CSD commercially immediately. I still have to buy a car. I just have to stay.
Yeah.
And then, what kept me, though, was because my muscles were churning and I didn't know what to do with it. Because here I was always in workshops and reading, busy.
The environment here to me is very active.
Yes.
But that to me is something I want to talk about, which is the East Coast spirit versus the West Coast spirit. And the East Coast spirit is this, I tell people, it's like doing it in New York. Like there's like, you're like hands are in the work all the time. And partly
see plays all the time.
And you're doing readings all the time. You're doing all that sort of stuff, and you really are. You're churning. That's a great word for it. All the time. And LA, partly because just the energy is like relaxed. It's a beach town. I always tell people it's a beach town, and so if you have that sort of wanting to keep that like the fires burning, you have to. It's almost takes more energy because it's easy to just sort of relax.
Yeah.
And so you really have to seek out communities and experiences that grind. And I feel like that's part of why people are drawn to the podcast. And also that's my energy. Like I'm an energy of a person who's always like going
super self-start.
Yeah, I'm like in it. I'm like, let's do things. And it's so easy to be distracted and ambivalent that when you find somebody like that, people want to be in that game. So you were in LA, you started to find some momentum.
Well, BHP.
Yeah.
I mean, was the thing. Because I was like, what's wrong? Like I feel this like this thing, but it's kind of like physical, muscular, almost anxiety. Honestly, part of it, to be open, was 9/11.
Yeah.
Leftover 9/11.
Yeah.
It settled once I got in a relaxed and warm place.
Yeah.
And then when I started to address that and meditate and do Course in Miracles, then it was like, I gotta work. So I don't remember who referred me, but I went to the Playhouse. And then I was like, now I can ground myself in this twice a week and work while this other thing takes its time to start.
What's particularly interesting about that environment, in particular why a lot of New York actors find themselves there, is because it requires a lot of hours and time and commitment. And just what is required, because it's 8 hours of
work.
Right, it's 8 hours of class a week, which is way more than anyone else does in Los Angeles, in addition to the hours outside. And you're usually doing like some real work.
Yeah.
And most of the classes in Los Angeles are like, let's do a cold reading class and let's do some television sides and all that sort of stuff. We have a cat friend, you guys.
Nice.
Yeah,
it's
it's
nice
like, hey, it's like, hey, what up? So that
and frankly, kind of theater based, really.
It is
you can bring in what you want, but
Absolutely.
people are bringing in Odets and O'Neill and
well, Milton
Susan
Katselas
or whatever.
Right, Milton Katselas, who founded the school, he was Kazan's protege.
Wow.
And yes, he sought out Kazan and he was his protege. And so he came from literally that sort of environment, right? And he used to have us read the books of the stuff. So it was really magical. So you were in LA, you had this momentum, you found an environment that worked for you. So to somebody who is graduating or somebody who's maybe in a smaller market or even somebody who's in New York thinking about LA or somebody who's in LA thinking about New York, what perspective do you have for them?
And I'm lucky. I get to have a fair amount of these conversations somehow. And I love it. Speaking with younger people or people who are starting when they're starting. And, I do kind of believe in the old mantra, which is like, do you want to do theater for real? Then you need to be here. That could mean Chicago. Could mean
whatever it is, right?
Yeah. Theater town.
Yeah.
Younger people who seem to be biding their time before they go to LA. I try to mark where they're at, life maturity wise.
And why is that?
Why do I mark that?
Yeah.
Because my instinct would be initially, do you want to do theater really?
Yes.
And if the answer is like, no, then the quick response is, then go to LA and build a life. But if they're in a place where maybe I'm not sure their commitment to acting overall, if they're in a place that they could get washed out to sea by some of the softness of LA, which is fine, then you can go and have a life doing many of sundry other careers. It's a better lifestyle.
It is a better lifestyle. If you're going to flounder, if I can just put in my 2 cents, having lived in both, if you're going to flounder in LA.
Agreed.
100%.
Agreed.
like part of what was so hard for me about New York, the lifestyle is hard, but more than anything, I just saw for me how little value the actor was valued and that they worked for so much, so hard. And I felt the financial return was not what I wanted. And that's not true for a lot of people. What I ask people, a really good question I ask people is if it was all the same, if the money and the fame and the house and the everything, if it was all actually equal, which one would you do? Theater or television? I would have 100% said theater. No doubt.
Yeah.
But I looked at the people who had the roles that I really wanted in theater, and they all had shows underneath their belt.
That's the new theater. That's the new big theater climate too. You need a name to sell a show.
Even the smaller theater.
Well, that's what's happened.
That's
even in my time, that's what's changed.
That's what's changed.
Which is like, whoa.
It's big. Yeah. I mean, even the smaller, but recognized theaters with these interesting playwrights and this interesting stuff, they still have to have a show under their belt.
We call it star fucking here.
Star fucking, that's right.
And then you watch, frankly, you see some show, and I'm not, you see some plays that ought to have had some legs, and sometimes they don't get the right actor.
Yes.
And then it's like that person gives a charming performance, but the play isn't really revealed. That's not just theater. That's all of them. That's pilot season. That's anything where they're having to solve a problem fast and cool instead of having to really do the work, which is part of why Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, these internet companies that are willing to take their time are then getting the better results because they're sort of doing the Pixar model, which is we don't care if it takes 7 years. We're going to do it, redo it, because then the payoff is then really there for everyone versus like, we're fucked. 3 weeks, make a pilot go. On the air. We have our own, we say when it's on the air.
Yes.
We have our own schedule. It's beautiful. It's outside of time.
Absolutely outside of time. Yeah.
To finish that thing about the younger people in New York and LA, so if I sense that maybe they're not, I don't know how committed they are, then I don't say to them, go to LA. I say like, do it here. And I know in those 18 months, 3 years, 5 years, they're going to figure out whether this is for them or not. And at that point, they will also figure out whether they belong here, whether they belong there.
I do think if you're not sure if you want to be an actor or not, New York will teach you that very fast.
That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely. Like in New
and
York,
what you're doing for the right reasons, frankly.
Frankly, very right. Right. But here's my thing about the right reasons. Like, to be fair, you guys, like, some of you want to be fucking famous. So, fine. There's lots of ways to be famous. And if you think, like, acting is the way to go, then fine. I have nothing against that. For me, it's just definitely one of those things where if your heart isn't in the acting career, it's too hard for you to keep going in that momentum.
That's right.
But what you will discover in Los Angeles is there's lots of ways to be famous, and everyone starts as an actor, and then they go into hosting, or they go into cooking, or they go into any number of things that still your face is in front of the camera and people know who you are.
There is the wrong reasons being that I also mean that whether you really want to be an actor sometimes only shows itself by living the life of being an actor for a while, because there's this idea of what it is, even sometimes when you went to school for it or were the star of your town, and then there is what it takes to be committed to the life. And I don't like this word. I don't use it very often.
Love it.
But if I could put a mushy, bubblegum smelling cushion on the word sacrifices, which I think I don't like that.
The reason you don't like it is because it doesn't. Priorities is great. But sacrifices is correct because you are saying no to certain things that other people get.
You find out how entitled you feel.
Entitled is big.
You find out how much you're an actor because you want it to be your therapy.
You want to be special.
You find out how much you need to reconcile that stuff with your dad.
That's right. We all have that, you guys.
We all have it. It's fine.
Yeah.
But along the way, you realize that, you work through it, and you find out, I actually have this passion that goes deeper to a place of mystery that I don't understand.
Tell me now about where you're at and when you were talking about so beautifully the lifestyle commitment. For me, the continual unfolding is so real because I keep going from a level to another level to another level where you really discover what you're signing up for. And to me, that's it. I remember even in college, like when I did plays in high school, like the best thing was like the finishing a show and being like, I'm so special, I finished a show. And then in college, I remember not feeling that way. And so it was weird and different. And then sort of what I loved was doing the show and being told that you'll like what you then really love is the rehearsals, which then I did really love. I loved then the rehearsals. And then I grew from loving the rehearsals to actually loving the long run and loving like the discovery of the long run. And then as I transitioned into television and such, really discovering like, oh, the audition process and how do I fall in love with that? And then, oh, the creative process of building a career. How do I fall in love with that? And so each level comes with like really a new expanded opportunity, if we're being very optimistic, which I am, a new expanded opportunity of what fall in love with next, which to me is like any beautiful relationship, right? You have like why you fall in love in the beginning, and then you have like why you love them then after this event, and then you have why you love them after that thing, you know?
Yes.
And it continues to unfold.
You know, your point is that was part of, for me, what makes you in particular so special in that you have all the talent, you have all the likability, but you have this attitude. You have this real attitude of constant positivity at every turn. I mean, actors don't think that way. So many actors don't think that way about the concept of falling in love with the career part of it. I mean, frankly, Audrey, you in this podcast have given me that at this place.
Oh, that's so
really
great.
Yes.
I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I know particularly a lot of men. I just want to say to the guys out there, you guys, this is legit. This is not knocking you. I see you, and I see that you guys have a hard time, particularly with the pride and the expectation. And there's something about, there's so many roles written for men that when you start, if you have kernel of talent or anything about you that's interesting, you usually have momentum pretty easy and pretty fast. And that's really just a math thing. There are fewer roles for women and so many more women out for it. And then what happens is 2 years, 5 years come in and the playing field gets even. And men start going against other men who are equally qualified and everybody's great. And just because of the math, women have really sort of had that experience sort of earlier and had to deal with our pride at an earlier stage. And I really see you guys really come up against a real internal struggle. I just sort of want to acknowledge that to all of you guys. And the business part of it, particularly for so many of you who are artists, it's a hard thing to then wrap your heart around the business side, because the business to so many people means like, fuck you, right?
Sure.
Because you chose to be artists because you want to do art. And if you wanted to do business, you would be in advertising and you'd be in business. Right. So when you have to then marry the fact that you sort of have to do both to get into both. Right. Especially if you've been dreaming of Al Pacino, who had a different experience. Yeah, right.
Of the incredibly singular experience. And incredibly singular talent.
Yes.
Let's be honest.
Yes, but see, I have a different thing about singular talent. I really do. Because my friends, the people I know and love, they're all singularly incredibly talented. They really are. Yeah. I have this my group of my special friends. They're so phenomenal.
Yeah, I just mean that you couldn't look at him and then what happened and say, "Oh, he was lucky." Right. It's a single. I should just say a single experience. Yes. It's funny. Part of some of us, we feed ourselves with a certain myth we need as fuel, and then when it's time to have cast that off and shed that, it still informs our subconscious, our emotion, or our our belief system. You're kind of pricking that a little bit. You're kind of like you're like acupuncturing some stuff on me right now. It's like, you're right.
I just love what you just said so much, because I think that's so true. It's like, and for me, that is a continual discovery, because what that is changes.
I bet. Right, with what you're going through.
With what I'm going through now. Yeah. Right. Because like all I ever wanted was my own show. I was like, I want to be on a show. Right. And now I am, and I'm like, well, okay. So. Yeah. Okay. So like, now what? Right. Now what? In like an exciting way. Yeah. But you and I talk all the time about being Irish and being like hardworking and dogmatic in that sense. And so a lot of that for me has been this like focus to like crack this like nut. I'm just like focused and like tap 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 tap, and then it's like open, and I'm like, oh, like yeah. I guess I'll have that nut then. But then there's this still like Irish side of me that's like, what are you gonna crack now? You gotta make that, right?
Yeah, I mean, thank goodness, because a lot of people who don't have that,
Yeah.
I think they get to a place of a quote unquote success or a level they want to get to, and they get disabused of some notions, and because it isn't a fairy tale, and it isn't a cartoon.
No,
it's hard fucking work.
Right.
It's serious work.
Yes.
Money is on the line. We all have a lot to learn.
Yes.
We all have to be humble.
Yes.
We all got to show up every day, hopefully, and be open. We got to be kind. Our generation,
Kind to ourselves and to each other.
Yeah, things are changing before our very eyes. Unless we have to. You mentioned, we're in the throes of Weinstein and Spacey and everything right now.
Yep. Yeah.
And I wouldn't want any of that stuff any other way.
No,
I could not deal with showing up at an office where the only point is to do whatever the fucking point of the thing in the office, and they all have to pretend.
Well, that's why you chose this career.
That's right.
That's right.
To be in the mud. I almost said the mud.
Yeah, but the mud.
Conversation. To be in the mud.
Okay,
to
sure.
be in the
But
mud.
to be in it.
That's right.
Yeah, in the soup, maybe.
In the soup.
Right?
Yeah, the mud is made of chocolate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell it.
Yeah, that's
right.
right.
In the soup. That's right.
And for me, too, when we're talking about what you just said about this thing that drives you, do you want to talk about that from your own personal experience of something that you've had to let go of and release? And
in terms of the driving,
yeah.
Let me say one thing that you might enjoy about the myths that we feed ourselves, right?
Yes.
Because some of them are necessary. I know one was for me. So when I first started out, there was no reason to think I had any business trying this thing. I was giving another thing up. I went to this good school, and there was this other idea of what my life was going to be that Audrey wanted. Yeah. So when I started to do it, it just didn't make any sense. Yeah. But it coincided with Good Will Hunting. So I and there was a nice little myth about those guys that wasn't true.
Wasn't true.
I think when they were 6 years old.
Right.
And I just had this feeling that I'll get Matt Damon. I literally.
I want you to know that the male actors I know, they all feel that is their exact same myth.
Really?
Yes.
Good Will Hunting.
Yeah. They're going to get Matt Damon. Literally, that's their myth. And they are now waking up to, I may not be Matt Damon. I may not become that.
Yeah. No, I've reconciled that a while ago. But I know that I could act opposite him and be on the same level.
Yes, you could.
Yeah. It's almost two separate things. In terms of the work, I don't need anything to keep motivated and going, because when I'm doing it and it's working,
if you love it,
nothing feels better.
Oh, that's right. But you have to be there. You have to get that work.
That's right. Yeah. And so, I definitely have. I definitely have my doubts for sure, and a lot of it is catching yourself being presumptuous. I do. And being like, dude, that ain't how.
It's not how that fucking works.
You're protecting yourself from whatever it is that doesn't feel good right now, whatever you're afraid to show up.
The pride thing that I was saying, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
But I will say, recently, I feel more the most like a full adult in the thing that I ever have the last couple of years, because I've had some experiences at the higher levels that have come back, and lived it, and then said, okay, so that's what that's like. Yeah.
You can sort of see behind the curtain, right?
Yeah. The audition that you helped me with from LA, that I got, which was being out on a show for a while. Yeah. And it was all right. And then it was first of all, it was a dream, those shoots. Yeah. And it was easy. When it came down to it, not that all of them will be. But that one was. Yeah. To go show up and do what I did was huh. Fuck yeah. 2-3 takes. What? Okay. You're happy? Really? I'd like to. All right. And so what's going on right now is that I'm auditioning. We're talking on camera now. For me, the last couple of years have been theater audition. Yeah. I don't have to worry about
that's how I feel about theater. I walk into theater feeling who wants to give me the lead? I'm ready.
I auditioned for a Broadway musical this week for the first time in my life for no good reason. I don't do musicals. Right. I
it made me so happy.
Play drums and sing in a cover band. They needed a drummer. My manager pushed him. Good for him. It was a trip. Yeah. But aside from that one, I basically get at least a call back on every theater audition I go into at this point, all the time. Yeah. But on camera has been a nerves game for me the last few years, and I've done things to work on that. And when I came back from the Long Wharf, where I did this play Smart People, from then until now, I'm auditioning on camera at a level of consistency and quality that is it's every time. That's great. So much so that it's also not booking isn't bothering me in a way it never has to.
Because it's not personal now. Now you're doing the work, and whether or not it's right for you,
Yeah.
is not in your control.
Yeah, I'm almost a little like, really?
Yeah, I feel the same.
A little bemused, like, is it bemused? That's right.
Yeah. I feel like,
You're like, really? None of these, huh?
Yeah, I know.
This is interesting.
I feel both.
How's it possible?
I feel both. When I get auditions, I feel like I'm never going to get this. And then after I do the audition, I'm always like, you didn't give me this? Like, exactly. I always feel
can I tell you, I got a story.
Both. Yeah.
So Blue Bloods?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the way they do it here, they do it old school, where you go in the office.
Yeah.
And if you have a good read, then they'll bring you to the studio and read for a room.
Yeah.
Like the producers, the writers, the whole thing.
Old school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess if you haven't been in a while or a season changes, they might start you over. So a season or two ago that happened. And then once I went to the producer's room, I always went to the producer's room.
Yeah.
And then time goes by and then you start. So this season I went to the casting office, then got the call back at the producers. So, okay, fine. It's far away, Alpha and Greenpoint. I was out there way early. I go into the coffee shop beforehand around the corner, and I turn with my drink, and I bop someone in the back of their head with my elbow.
Oh, gosh.
Hard.
Yeah.
And I turn, and there's two women. And I go, oh, my God, did I just hit you in the head with the point of my elbow?
Yeah.
And the other woman, her friend says, yes. I'm like, I said, oh, I'm so sorry. And they're both kind of like, okay, you can just walk away now. So I did. Go in 3 scenes, kind of intense and not emotional, but tough, good scenes, good writing. And I walk into the room, and they're like, okay, everyone, this is Peter O'Connor. We have Ian Bitterman. We have, John Maloney. And we have White Cat and the writer and this. And, of course, the head of casting, so-and-so. And I look.
And it's her.
Mm-hmm.
That's the actor story of all actor stories. It's so classic.
The EP goes, did you two have a moment?
Yeah.
I was like, yes, we did.
I beat her up earlier. Oh, shit.
I enjoyed the heck out of it.
Yeah, sure.
And they were all like tempered. Yeah. And then I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to like stand up comedy. And then as it settled, no one's saying anything. And I look at the reader and she just goes,
oh, yeah. She gives you the nod.
Go ahead. We're going to start. It's on you, man.
Yeah. And now we begin.
And you know what? I had one of the best.
Yeah.
It went really well.
Yeah.
I was like, all right.
Yeah.
And I went in next week, right or so.
Yeah, see? But it just doesn't matter. And that's the thing that I think you get to a level where you really swallow the pride.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I just have to, just for sanity, I'm fine.
Yeah.
For sanity, I have to give over to, and, whether it's I have to give over to a certain amount of mysticism about it. Mm-hmm. I know enough times that I've gotten, when certain roles have come at certain times, it just feels right.
And that's true if it's theater or if it's film or if it's a commercial. It doesn't matter. Sure. I've had the same experience. You know it when you get it and you're like, this is it. This one belongs to me.
And it feels like, when you feel your due and it doesn't come, I just take it into my life. I go, well, what else is going on in my life right now? Is there something I'm not looking, let me just make sure that I'm not compartmentalizing mentally, that everything is kind of a piece.
But wait, Peter, wait. I have to interrupt you.
Help me. I need some help.
And now it's time for listener questions.
I'm so scared.
All right, you guys. So this is a little question that I've been getting to clarify the signing out policy. As you know, I've informed you that if you sign out of commercials and you've been over your time, like you're an hour and 1 minute, you get like $40 for that overtime of an hour. And if you write down your member ID number, you get an extra $99. Like, who doesn't want that? And somebody emailed me and said, well, I heard that if you do that, then your casting director will get super pissed at you, and then you're blacklisted. Hell hath no fury, like a blacklisting casting director. Oh, no. So to get some informed information about this, I went on to a special group I'm a part of, and I asked all the commercial actors what they thought about this question, and some of them have worked in casting before. And so here is the consensus. For the first call, the casting director pays for it. For the second call, the client pays for it. So absolutely, under all circumstances, for the callback, you want to sign out. The client's paying for it. AT&T has the money, you guys, so let them pay you for their overtime. It's like an artistic work session, and so, maybe they're just running behind. I don't know. Get paid. Get paid. For the first call, that's really, your call. One suggestion is that you sort of read the room. If it's like something where they're really giving you a lot of extra time because they're working with people and they're really making everyone's auditions a little bit better, or it's some circumstance that you can read where, they're really trying their best to both help you out and or have this audition happen, then maybe don't punish the casting director, but still sign out. So how you can do that is you sign out at 55 minutes from your call time. 55 minutes from your call time, not 55 minutes from the time you arrived. This also helps to encourage you to show up to your audition on time. Don't show up to your audition 40 minutes early, 3 hours early. It upsets them because it throws their whole game off. So if you show up and you have your call time at 3 o'clock and say it goes over to like 4:01, technically you should be paid for that. But, maybe you want to cut the casting director some slack. And so you give them 55 minutes. So when you sign out at 3:55, not 4:01. The reason behind this is help those who are helping you. But I also say maybe somebody else wants to get that money. And, a lot of these people, people have kids, they're paying for babysitters. And so if they're there for an hour and 12 minutes, that $40 helps them pay for that babysitter to attend that audition. And so you don't want to make them look like a dick. So you sign out and then they sign out and then they'll get the check. We're just working together, you guys. United. Almost like we're a union of actors. All right, I love you.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
What would you say to the actors right now in a nutshell, LA actor experience versus New York actor experience?
When mid-career?
Sure.
Nutshell. Mm-hmm. I mean, it really, depends on if you're getting sent out, obviously. Right?
Yeah.
That's what it really depends on. I mean, when I was in LA, I went from, I was going out for commercial auditions multiple times a week. I booked a few. And didn't have much of a place to pursue legit really right away, or theatrical. Yeah. And then a friend I kind of knew lightly who had a good career going, I was rehearsing her for pilots, and she stopped and looked at me and was like,
"Where's your agent?
You're good."
Yeah, right.
And she made her managers talk to me, and the junior guy took me on, and like that, I was reading for the fourth lead on an HBO pilot. Now that I wasn't going to get that,
right? But I got
a taste of what the powerful reps do, how things change. Yep. I was like, whoa,
it's magical.
Whoa,
yeah, it is.
Then when I took the Annie Baker play for $600 a week out of town, they weren't going to do it.
That's my favorite. That's when I was like, Peter, I think you like theater. You either like theater or poverty or both. So let's be honest. Yeah. And New York?
You gotta love, my thing about New York is that, good playwrights are poets.
Yeah, that's right.
You have to have the desire for that poetry in your heart and your soul. You have to want to be a part of what is being said.
And what I would say for me in LA, how that's different, is that there are a lot of really great writers, and most of them are having to write at 3 o'clock in the morning audition sides that will never even make the light of day for you for the audition. They're drunk and or on coke, and it's not going to be great. It's not supposed to be great yet because it's not the point. Mm-hmm. And that's hard for a lot of you who are theater actors to come into the film and television auditions because they're thin.
That's right.
They're so. That was what was so hard for me. Was I love to do the work, and the work was like so. It was like drinking. It was like going from drinking the best wine ever to like the saddest water, like water that's like 8 days old. Just like
that
right.
Was part of my nervous problem with those TV auditions because the writing wasn't good.
It didn't support you.
So stubborn. And I remember my meeting with my manager, I eventually got, I said, well, I was like, Tony, I go, when the writing's good in the auditions, like, I'm good. And he goes, yeah, of course.
Yeah, fucking good luck. Yeah, but not only that. When the writing's... I'm paying
you for that, bro.
Right. Not only when the writing is good, are you good, but when the writing's good, fucking everyone's good.
Everybody's good.
And that's the truth.
Adding to the poetry comment, at this point, if you have a career happening on some level, there are... Films do cast out of New York.
Yes.
The TV does cast out of New York, and this whole Netflix model.
Yeah, sure.
If your reps are good enough, you're going to get seen for some of that stuff.
Because it's shooting in Vancouver anyway, so whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm not quite yet being seen for the Netflix stuff, just with my particular situation, but that's,
we
a thing away.
About that,
yeah.
Because that's just a decision for you. But you know that.
Oh, look at you speaking in code.
No, it's just a focus. It's a focus decision for you.
To what?
To get that stuff.
Okay.
That's just all it is for you.
All right.
And once you do that, when I say it's done, it's like so done. You're like ripe for the picking for that.
That's what it feels like.
I only say what I see.
Yeah, I know.
And more now than ever before. Like before, I did feel like you were quite ready.
Yeah.
But now it feels like that could be your set.
What you're describing is part of what I've been noticing these last few months with all these good on camera editions. Mm-hmm. There's just there's more of a lightness and a command and less like internal drama.
Yeah, that's
about the nonsense of it all. That we put on ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So I end with a few things.
Yeah.
You have any questions for me?
Oh my gosh. I know you're
No, go for it.
What has been the most fun or surprising part of
meaning the actual acting work or
I want to know about the acting.
Okay. I can tell you.
Tell me the juice.
No, I can tell you the best part is how incredible everyone is.
Yeah.
Like they're so incredible. And
good.
To me, if I can just say to anyone who's like almost there, like how like all you've ever wanted to do is like work with a really great people and then make fucking money doing it. Yeah. And that's what happens.
That's what it is.
And it's like every time you are working with somebody, you're like, fuck, you're good.
Yeah.
And then you work with somebody else and you're like, fuck, you're good.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of feels like a bunch of incredible musicians who finally get the opportunity to play with each other.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Because that is the juice.
It is the juice.
I play music.
Yeah.
I play drums.
Right.
Some people consider that.
Yeah.
But it's people say, what's it like? I say it's the same thing with that.
Yeah.
When it's happening, and magic happens.
Yeah.
In music, you change. When you're writing music, you change at the same time. Just happen. You all make a change on the same moment.
And all of it too, not just the actors, but like watching the director talk to some of the actors and then work it out, because he was a writer-director and he's one of the best writers he's one of the top writers.
Wow.
And like any screenwriter geek, like when you're like Scott Frank, they're like, Scott Frank is doing it. They're like, it's like
watching him work it out on the set.
Yeah.
That's
it. But then so that's like working with the playwright, right? So they're like working something out with you and you're figuring it out and they're like, this isn't working. And so that like, I love watching people who love what they do what they love to do.
Yeah.
And that's in any art form. Yeah. And so to be in that and be a part of it.
Let me ask another question.
Yeah.
So you've had this, what's the next nut to crack? And now you know now that you have more access than you ever had. You have more exposure. You have more druthers, frankly. You can probably even do a little like business-oriented kind of chest, what is it?
I feel like,
chest feathering.
Yeah.
So like have you had any, dreams or times on the highway where you go, have you imagined any new parts and projects for yourself?
Oh, well, you know that I have. Like now, like the thing that I want now is, Milton used to say about the great work that the actor and the part, and it fits like a glove. It just fits like a glove. Uh-huh. It's like grace. That's what it's like, right?
Wow.
It's like grace. And when I see it in other actors, and like my current obsession with it is Claire Foy in The Crown. Have you watched her work?
Yeah.
She's Elizabeth.
Man.
But that's like the glove fits. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And my next place is like, I'm so excited to meet her. Like that's how I feel.
Cool.
Like I'm so excited to meet my part. Like I'm so excited to meet her.
Wow. You're out of your own way and experiencing a version of yourself at the same time.
And it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. Like that's what I'm excited for.
I have an asterisk thing to say to New York actors.
Yes. That
like your cast member, Sammy Soul, is as quintessential New York fucking actor.
I know.
She's a beast. She's a quintessential New York actor as you can get.
I know.
And she is as fierce and truthful and beautiful stage performer as you can get. I've seen her carry bad shows. I was going to say on her shoulders, on a pinky. Yeah. And so look up her work. But like she is a New York theater person who's looking around, or New York actor.
Like what does that look like?
Well, now she's on a TV show.
Yes.
All right. And,
we talked a lot about that, her and
I bet.
Yeah.
And and so that is she's a great example of that.
Yeah, I feel very much like, because we're like sort of the besties on the show. Like our characters are together and very yin and yang. And when I'm with her, we feel that way. You know, because she feels to me like if I lived the New York life that I had thought I was going to live, I would be there.
Oh, cool.
Right? Do you see how I'm saying? Like if I had gone like the intense theater like route, I would do. You
would meet each other.
I would be in that. Yes.
That sounds right. That sounds right.
Yeah. Okay. What is the best part about the business for you?
Oh gosh, there's a lot of love between people.
Yeah, that's right.
There's a lot. You end up experiencing a lot of love. You know.
I do.
I didn't know that's what I was going to say, but that's true.
Yeah, it is. And other people in other careers, they're so lonely.
Isn't that true?
It is so true.
Yeah.
And I feel so blessed that I don't feel that way.
You know, I get it. You know, it's a pressure-filled thing, and people have their issues. But sometimes when people don't treat each other well, I try to have these conversations with other people. I say, isn't the point of this?
Yeah.
We're humanity.
Yes.
What?
Yeah, and I'm always reminding you to have fun. I'm always telling you that. I'm like, don't forget, this is supposed to be fun.
You're right.
Because you get intense.
You're right.
You get like you will like get an intense focus conquer zone.
That's correct.
And I'm like, it's good times. Yeah, I know. But you also have the other where you love to have a good time. You love to be in the enjoyment of it. You have to just remember that.
Thank you. It's true because you missed the whole boat.
You be the whole fucking and then what the fuck are we doing?
What's the point?
Yeah, that's what I do all the time.
How much money in my house?
Right. Yeah. So I'm always like, what the fuck are we doing then?
You know, like you kind of want to give Sean Penn a hug.
I do want to give so many of them a hug.
Saving the world. And
yes.
I honor him. And it's like I wish, you know, like can we get him
some love.
Like Bob Dylan still singing songs about how miserable his relationships. Like, have you learned nothing?
I know. I do feel that way.
You're the philosopher, bro.
No, that's right. That's right.
Didn't you make yourself happy?
Yeah, that's right. No, they can't.
It's important.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you.
What is the hardest part about the business for you?
Money.
Yeah, money. Well, that's the thing I'm talking to you about, though. That's the thing.
Decision.
That's the decision. And it's just, you really have to, you and I could have like we'll have a phone call maybe, because it's like a real thing. You have to be ready for it, but it's hard for you.
Psychic Audrey kicking in.
Well, it's a cultural thing for you. And you just have to like, it's
that I'm afraid to give over to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah. That goes deep. It goes real deep.
It does.
Yeah. I know that for you.
Wow. Isn't that something?
Okay, and for later.
Are you on?
And what do you wish somebody had told you or managed to get you to understand when you were just a wee babe entering this business?
You've already said it. It's the fun factor. And you know, your success or not, or what the people think of you, it doesn't have anything to do with you. It doesn't. Can't define, and how you did on that audition doesn't have anything to do with it. Don't let it affect how you feel.
If you guys can learn that, like, then you solve life. That's life.
Let it affect how you feel yourself. Yeah. That's the most important. The most important relationship is learning to love yourself.
That's right. Yeah. Why acting?
Fun.
Yeah. It's a good thing.
Fun and fire.
Yes.
Fire. Like, you know, we can talk about, you know, I observed they grew up in a great family, you know, light Irish Catholic, but, you know, we didn't necessarily talk about stuff, and we certainly didn't raise our voices, you know.
It's that waspy thing I love.
Well, not wasp, I mean, that's another thing.
But
the
that's
Irish Catholic version, because the wasp, the slight on the wasps is that even underneath it, there isn't any fire to temp down.
I know, right?
But the Irish
is just tampering.
And the Jews, we are fiery. My Jewish friends and my Italian friends, I would go to their houses, and everyone's
yelling.
No love is lost, but they're emoting. And when I saw that, I said, "What the fuck?" So
that makes me very uncomfortable.
You know, so like to be able to not have to, you know, the opposite of tamp down, but not just investigate, but like enjoy, you know, whatever that is. And then, you know, look, it's the affecting someone. And I don't know, I'm not as much of the affecting the audience thing. I have a little snobby thing. The audience, their experience is their business. I'm a little bit kind of snobby about that, or whatever that we would call that. But the affecting the other, affecting your partner, and you're letting your partner affect you. Because
that's life.
I want to be living that way all the time. That's the real secret here. We want to live that way, and we act so that we can actually be honest emotionally, or know that we're being dishonest and have the joy of that. I mean, that probably sounds corny, but that's true.
I don't think that's corny. I think that
I want to live that way.
Well, it's being the most present with people who are the most present. That's really what that is, right? That's alive. You're being alive.
I also there's also like some righteous indignation that I feel entitled to. There's some injustice I want to fucking scream about too.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm okay to be on the wrong side. I also like being on the wrong side of that.
Right. So that you can say that.
I mean, I want to be I'll play the good lawyer.
Right.
But I also like playing back. I like playing the dark. So.
Yeah. You like playing the dark. Okay, one last one. Mildly interesting.
What?
Mildly interesting.
Oh, the mildly interesting.
She likes mildly interesting.
Oh my god.
I have mine written down.
Mildly interesting is you have to work a little harder. Do you guys have Time Out LA?
We do have Time Out LA.
So everyone already knows this, right? But the Undateables.
Oh, right.
Huge fan of the Undateables.
Yeah, I hear that.
You used to get the find timeouts everywhere, but you have to seek them out a little bit more now in New York. And the Undateable, I just started reading it. It's hilarious. And you will start thinking about why they choose to pair these two people together in the first place. 99% of the time, it's a total disaster.
Good.
But it's no less entertaining.
That's great.
That's what I would
you have?
say. Let me say, too, the book, audiobook, if you're not a reader, The Surrender Experiment.
Oh, that sounds good.
The Surrender Experiment. It is Michael Singer.
Oh,
And then the book he wrote after that is even better, but this one is like a lighter way. And it's more than mildly interesting, but it deserves a shout out.
Yeah, good. Mine is not nearly as deep as any of that, but it's a girl I want you guys to follow on Instagram. She's a prima ballerina. She's so incredible. And my favorite thing is, particularly athletes, I love watching them work because of the discipline involved in the expression of the art. And I feel that most actors really lack that discipline. And I'm so inspired when I see somebody just putting in, particularly ballet dancers, it's like a robot. You have to again and again and again and again, and the muscle memory, and then working the extension. So her name is Dusty Button, spelled exactly like how it sounds. And she's just miraculous, and she posts herself doing the prep work.
What does prima mean in prima ballerina?
Prima ballerina, like the first ballerina. It's like you're the star ballerina. Yeah.
Yeah, the discipline.
And she's
they're the toughest creatures.
They're the toughest creatures ever. Yeah.
And they stand on the tips of
their fucking toes.
But that's the least of it, I understand.
That is the least of it. Yeah. If you can get over that, that's the least of it. So that's really inspirational to me. Yeah. Any final words for them?
Tell your friends about this podcast. I also think it doesn't even have to be actors. I think it's truly entertaining. Cool. Even people who are fans of TV shows, I think people are curious about the business. Yeah. So tell your friends about this and write your reviews. Very important. Write your reviews.
And tell people where they can find you.
On Twitter, it's Peter S. O'Connor. And on Instagram, it is Pedro Matica. That's what my brother calls me.
Pedro
Matica.
Do you want to spell that for him?
Yes. See? PEDROMATICA. Okay. And I'm on Facebook like a normal human.
Yeah, like a normal human.
Say hi.
Yes.
Peter O'Connor. I'm luckily known.
And if you can watch him perform, you guys, tell them some of the shows they can see you on.
Let's see here.
Stuff on the Hulu.
Flesh and Bone, and Public Morals most recently. And I have a couple movies on Netflix right now. Frat Star and The Last Treasure Hunt by Casey Nelson and Kate Murdoch. That's a sweet movie. Let me send you to that one.
And
The Last Treasure Hunt. Good brother-sister movie. The other one's a ridiculous frat.
No, but the brother-sister, they're both great. Brother-sister one.
Next week on Audrey Helps Actors, really by next week, I mean in a few days, we're going to talk to Anisha Mehta. Anisha! She is so great. Just wait until she lights up your life. I've gotten some requests for theater, for musical theater, not just film and television. And guess what? Anisha has done it all. She's like a prodigy child. She's been a lead on Broadway in musicals. She's done lots of theater. She has been a series regular in television. She has developed so many plays in New York and taken them to Broadway from scratch. She's done every guest star that you can imagine. She goes out for Star Wars, you guys. She reads for amazing roles on Star Wars. So I just love her. She's like the most lovable person in the universe. So I love her. She'll be on
Look forward to it. Special thanks to Peter O'Connor. Thanks, Peter. Did that sound so annoying? I was like, thanks, Peter. I meant to be like, thanks, Peter. That was such a great interview. Is that even like a cool, sexy voice? I think that's like my character version of like a cool, sexy voice. I don't even really have a cool, sexy voice, you guys. This is as cool as it gets. I wanted to say thanks to Peter O'Connor for all of his time. He was just so great in New York, you guys. This show is produced and edited by Jesse Lumen. Oh, he's so handsome. Special thanks to Thomas Snodgrass for the mic assistance here and there. He's so generous with his mic. It's good to have your sound guy across the street, you guys. And thanks to Aalok Mehta for some help with the theme song. Music this week and every week by Ari De Niro. And most importantly, don't forget your towel.